It was the day when a terrible natural disaster was about to happen, and it was going to hit a city where people thought they were gods. This city was built on an island, and the whole civilization living there was about to be destroyed. Not just the buildings, but all the islands and people were going to disappear completely. About 11,000 years ago, a huge tsunami wiped out this entire civilization in just one night. This is the story of a human civilization that we now know as Atlantis. The amazing story of Atlantis was written by an ancient Greek philosopher around 2,000 years ago. His name was Plato. Plato wrote that the people of Atlantis believed they were gods, had special powers, and lived on islands full of gold and silver. Plato also wrote in his book that the people of Atlantis were depraved and misused their powers. Because of this, a natural disaster struck them that completely wiped out their existence from this world. The story of Atlantis, written 2,000 years ago, has now become a historical mystery. Because in history, there were such cities that are now submerged under the sea, many people strongly believe that Atlantis also sank beneath the ocean. But the question is, if such a large city and an entire civilization disappeared overnight, then where did they go? What were the locations in the world where the people of Atlantis used to live? And what was it that these humans, who lived 6,500 years before the construction of the pyramids of Egypt, possessed that is still remembered today? These are the questions that scientists, archaeologists, and researchers have been trying to answer for centuries. But this time, after seeing the evidence that science has discovered under the sea, it would not be wrong to say that perhaps after 11,000 years, we are now very close to discovering the lost city of Atlantis. Viewers, everyone feels attracted to the mysterious cities submerged under the sea, even if they don't want to, especially those cities about which no information is available. And if we talk about the top among these mysterious cities, the name that comes first is Atlantis. Experts have made several attempts to search for Atlantis beneath the sea. One such attempt was carried out near a remote island in Japan known as Yonaguni. The waters around this area are not only dangerous, but are also the origin of frequent typhoons. Moreover, groups of hammerhead sharks have often been seen swimming in these depths. Because diving in this perilous part of the ocean is an enormous challenge for deep-sea divers, this location remained hidden from the eyes of experts for a long time. Kihachiro Arataki was the diver who, without caring for his own life, dived into the waters of Yonaguni. According to him, when he went underwater, the water was completely crystal clear, and at the bottom, he saw a strange and unusual structure. At first, Arataki thought it was just a natural rock formation, but his doubt turned into belief when he noticed staircase-like steps carved into the rock. The diver couldn't understand why there were steps if it was a natural rock formation. But when Arataki went deeper to examine the structure more closely, what he saw was beyond belief. Yes, the entire structure was as large as 6 football fields and as tall as an 8-story building. From bottom to top, there were stairs built into it, and every side of the structure was astonishingly made in a regular pattern. After seeing all this, one thing was certain. This mysterious structure built deep under the sea was not natural, but man-made. But the real question is, what exactly is this thing? When the experts learned about this mysterious structure, they believed that simply diving would not be enough to gain further information about it. Therefore, it was time to use technology. The experts decided to use modern sonar technology to scan the sea around Yonaguni Island. A sonar is a device that, when placed in water, emits special sound waves. These sound waves collide with different objects present in the sea and get reflected. A receiver then captures the reflected sound waves, and with the help of a computer, a 3D model of the objects is created. The sonar scanning team reached near Yonaguni Island and conducted a complete scan of the sea floor. When the 3D model of the scan was created, the entire truth was revealed. After thousands of years, the layout of this mysterious structure was being seen for the first time in this 3D model, and what was visible was almost impossible to believe. It was a magnificent, extremely beautiful, and grand palace-like structure. This amazing discovery astonished archaeologists, geologists, and scientists all over the world. Everyone was eager to see this structure and rushed to reach Yonaguni Island, including the marine geologist Professor Masaki Kimura. When Professor Kimura saw this structure, he believed there was no doubt that it was built by humans, because it had certain features indicating that thousands of years ago, when this structure was above water, it was used by an unknown civilization. This structure even had a tunnel leading downward, which seemed to serve as its main entrance. A proper pathway led from this entrance to the stairs. These stairs extended all the way to the top of the structure, and on the top, there were completely flat terraces. On the very top terrace, there was something that suggested that the people who lived here thousands of years ago had a surprisingly advanced way of thinking. Yes, there was even a triangular-shaped pool, which, according to Professor Kimura, was probably used by people to sunbathe after bathing. These terraces were so large that thousands of people could stand on them at the same time. This structure, located in the sea near Yonaguni Island, had an entrance, a pathway, stairs, terraces, and even a pool. All of these features suggested to Professor Kimura that this structure was once a castle belonging to a civilization that lived here long ago. However, he needed some evidence to prove his theory that humans actually lived here at some point. Therefore, a detailed investigation of this underwater structure was conducted, and some samples were collected. Although most samples didn't reveal much, one artifact looked particularly strange. On a stone collected from here, a cross-shaped symbol was carved, and there were also 2 holes in the same stone. Professor Kimura believed that perhaps people used to touch this with their fingers, and that it might have had some special purpose at that time. At first glance, this structure appears to be made of stone blocks. However, forensic analysis revealed that it was not built from small individual blocks, but carved out of a single massive rock. This enormous stone was carefully shaped and sculpted to create a castle-like design. Carbon dating of the artifacts found here indicated that these samples are between 8,000 and 10,000 years old. That means 10,000 years ago, this place used to be above the water, and a human civilization lived here whose traces no longer exist. But is this structure the 11,000-year-old Atlantis described by Plato? Or is it an entire city found beneath the sea, thousands of miles away from Greece?